All right, Dr. Romo, Jean. So we've been working together for a little bit now, and I thought it would be helpful for other dentists and business owners to hear directly from you about the work that we've been doing together. So I know that you talk to business owners a lot, especially dentists, and a lot of them might find themselves in the same spot that you're in when we first started working together. So let's start there.
Mhm.
When you first decided to work with me, what was going on in the practice that made you think now's a good time for us to do this?
So, when we started working, ironically, everything was perfect. Or so I thought. I thought everything was perfect. And I'm always about, learning new things, especially with my staff. And I thought we haven't done something like this at this level I don't think ever. I've done a little bit in the past. And to my surprise, I realized that it was a perfect timing. It was a perfect timing because I learned a lot from my practice and myself and my staff, throughout with your guidance. So the timing was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, what surprised you most about the work that we did together?
So what I really liked about it, that really surprised me, was that it brought out a lot of topics and issues. I don't want to say issue because it makes it sound like we were in a real bad spot, but it
Yeah.
brought out a lot of topics where we needed to hit and we needed to target just topics of conversation that I had no idea were that could become an issue, in the future. And it's something just minimal, but it gave a voice to everybody in my staff to kind of like, hey, how about this? How about that? And there were items where I thought I never would have even thought that.
Yeah,
That
it's
was a
like
big eye
that
opener.
nitpicky stuff, right? Just the
Yeah.
nitpicky stuff that you just tend to ignore, but if you don't pay attention to it, it can kind of fester, and then it becomes more of a problem to deal
Yeah,
with.
that was the eye opener for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is great. Great to know.
yeah. So now you've progressed into the work a little bit. You've empowered your team. You've created some team leads to work on some initiatives that came out of the strategy work that we did together. How have you seen your team evolve as they've been taking on those leadership roles?
So I saw a couple different things. Number one is they're super excited to be a part of these teams that we did like ad hoc committees, and we're tackling different, things that we learned through our workshop. And what I've learned is that they're very excited because they get to two things that are they're excited because they get to voice their opinion on things, and they see that it's going to be held accountable. We're going to be held accountable, myself included. The other thing that was also great about this is that my staff got to see what I go through when it comes to setting a policy, setting a rule, how you have to look at all these moving parts and all these pieces to the puzzle. And then they realize that it's not necessarily it's not as easy as it looks. So those were the two things. They're very excited to be a part of it. They're excited to give input, but then they see my point of view, and they're a little bit more empathetic now, to my side.
Right, everything that you need to look after and consider in making decisions. Yeah,
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 absolutely. I think to them that was a big shocker, and I
yeah,
would say to them repeatedly, you see, it's not as easy as you think. There's a lot of things you got to take into consideration. And
right.
so that was a big eye
Have
opener.
you seen your role change in any way as this has progressed?
Yes, because there are times I've learned before this, I just felt like I was the leader, and that's it. That's my role. I'm the leader. I'm the CEO. I'm the owner. I'm the leader. But this has allowed me to take a step back where I can kind of mix myself in as not just the leader, but I'm just part of one of the employees where we kind of toss ideas back and forth. And that is something that I never really thought about. But setting up the workshop and setting up some of these, ad hoc committees that we have, it allows me to kind of hide or be amongst them and to kind of come up with solutions where they don't necessarily look to me as, I wonder what he's going to think. I'm just one of the employees, and I'm kind of just giving in my 2 cents. And so that's changed my role quite a bit because it forces me to put myself on their side for some
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah. I imagine that your team, you've instilled a lot of trust within your team as well by doing that, by saying, "Hey, I'm alongside you. I'm also a dentist, right?
Hmm.
Yes, I'm the owner, but I'm also a dentist. I'm alongside you. Let's solve these things together." Right? That's you
Yeah.
created some trust there.
And they appreciate that because they definitely could see that there's a lot of trust there. Because sometimes when we hit a little bit of a roadblock, when we're trying to make a decision on a policy, for example, they kind of look at me and they say, "Well, what do you think?" And I say, "Look, we're doing this together. Let's discuss it and let's figure out what we're going to decide. This is not going to be just me deciding. This is a group, and I really mean it. This is a group decision that we're making. I'm just one of you guys." And so they look at it very differently now because they realize that they do have a lot. I've given them quite a bit of trust. That's trust that they've always had. They just never knew it was there, to this level.
Right now they can see it.
Hmm.
One last question for you. So if you were talking with other dentists or business owners who were considering doing some of this strategy work and feeling like, we're good, what would you say to them?
So, when I talk to dentists, we preach 24/7 preventive. We preach that all the time. Preventive, preventive, preventive. We tell our patients day in, day out, prevention is key. You got to brush, you got to floss, even if there's nothing going on. You got to come in for twice a year. Prevention is key. So for something like this, that's the way I look at it. It's prevention. You may not think you need it. You may not think, that it's even going to work out for you, but it's prevention because what happens, the same in dentistry, if you let things go, things get more complicated in your mouth. It gets more expensive. It gets more it gets more intertwined, to fix something, and it gets a lot more complicated. You don't want to be at that point where you feel like, oh my God, now it's a little bit too late. So, any dentist out there, when you think about this, think about what we taught our patients. Prevention is key. And then for any other business owners not related in the dental field, when you go see your dentist, they'll tell you all the time, prevention is key. So this is the way I look at it. This is the way I look at it. It's prevention.
What a great way to close that up and underscore it for us. Thank you so much.
Good. Awesome.